Hello, my name's Andrew, and this is how to detangle a beard for free without a comb so you can go from dry and poofy to smooth and silky. So back when I first started growing out my beard, one of the first problems I ran into is that my hair is just super curly, and because it's also quite thick, the hairs were like wrapping around each other, at which point my first thought was like, use a comb, right? But it's just so freaking tangled that even when it was wet, I couldn't even get the comb to go all the way through. Naturally, I turned to YouTube to try to find some tutorials that might be helpful, and I tried a bunch of different oils and balms and shampoos and conditioners, but literally none of it worked. So I just kind of gave up on the problem, which was also not ideal because then my beard just got more and more tangled to the point where I almost had like dreadlocks, you know? But one day I was just kind of like playing around with it and I started running my fingers through it and I realized, okay, well maybe I can't use a comb, but what about fingers? And it turns out for curly hair, this is actually the best and cheapest way of detangling your beard. Basically what I do is just start with my fingers spread out and I just kind of like put them into the top of the beard so that I'm finding the roots of the hairs. And then I just gently pull down until I start to feel any snags. Like right here, I've got one on my index finger. And it's important to note that I'm really not using any pressure here because if you pull too hard, it can actually damage the hairs and irritate your skin. So I'm just using very light pressure. And when I find a tangle, essentially what I do is I take my other hand and I just pull the hairs apart. I just work one finger at a time, just kind of separating them like this. You go in between each finger with the other finger. You're just kind of gently pulling the hairs apart. You don't want to apply any pressure here either because if you pull too hard, you can end up creating knots. And sometimes there's a knot that's already there and there's nothing you can do about it. But most of the time, if you're gentle with it and you just kind of like rub the hairs around, just keep separating them, you'll get to the end. I'll do another example down the middle here. So just starting, going down, 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 and now I'm starting to feel some snags. So I just take the first group of hair, separate it there. And I take the second group of hair, just pull it apart. And then the last one, like this. And in the beginning, it was almost like too much to even use all my fingers. So you can just use one finger, just kind of start at the strand and just gently work it down until you feel like you can't go anymore. There's a snag right there. So you just kind of like put your finger, your other finger into the loop there and just gently pull it apart until you separate all the way. Now, sometimes you come up with a snag that just can't be separated, like it's two hairs that have become fully knotted together. And at that point, the thing to do is just to take a pair of scissors and just snip it. You don't want to like yank it apart because that can damage the hair. It can also, again, irritate your skin. But as you do this more and more, you'll get faster at it and you can just kind of go along like this, gently separating the hairs. And I just recommend doing this for like 5 minutes a day. It might take you a full hour or two to get all the tangles or most of the tangles out of your beard if you have really, really curly hair and you haven't been able to comb it successfully. But yeah, if you're doing too much all at once, you can kind of start to get beard rash, you know? So for me, just like whenever I'm thinking of it, I'll just kind of do this in the background. Like if I'm watching a movie or listening to a podcast or a YouTube video or something like that, it's just sort of like a meditative, slow, practice to do every day. And the more you do it, the better your beard will look. It'll look kind of straighter and fuller, more even. Whereas when it's really tangled, what will happen is that a lot of the bulk of your beard will be like up here, all in those tangles. And so you'll have like a really thin patch out in front because most of the hairs are kind of like curled up. And then another benefit of doing this is that your fingers help spread the oil, the natural oils around on your hair a little bit better than a comb does. So you can see like my beard actually has some glisten to it and I don't put anything in there anymore. Basically what I found with any of the balms or the oils like jojoba is that it looks really nice in your beard at first. It gives it a bit of that glisten, but then after an hour, it kind of starts to like dry and then your hair actually becomes drier, more straw-like than it was before. So really hydration and eating a proper diet with lots of high quality fat is the best way to keep your beard looking really nice. And it's good for your wallet too because you don't have to be spending money on combs or oils or balms or shampoos or conditioners or any of that other crap. Once you're done detangling your beard, it might kind of stick out all over the place because you've been doing this. So I would just do a few of these. It just helps pull the hair back down, and then voila, you've got a perfectly soft and silky natural beard. So yeah, that's how to detangle a curly poofy beard naturally. But if you'd like to learn more about what I eat for beard health, you can check out my carnivore diet video or the written list for amounts and sourcing. Finally, if you have a question about beard care or about natural health in general, let me know in the comments. Thanks for watching. Catch you next time. Peace.